Hi there, Crazy Corb again. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what happened with, well, not so much what happened with Tommy Took Too Much, which is the last video I put up, but I wanted to talk about the duplex there. I lived there for, probably 6 or 7 months while I was going to the junior college there, Cerritos Junior College. And there was a lot of things that happened there, actually. A lot of things that were fun. When I'd walk to school, I used to talk to cows that would follow me in the pastures across the street from my house, and got yelled at for that by the farmer who said that they walked off the fat in their milk walking and talking to me. And he said, they're friendly cows and you need to not take advantage of that. And if you keep doing that, I'm going to have you arrested. So I quit talking to his cows. I also had a friend come back from Vietnam, came there to stay and visit for a little while. He was looking at a gun that I had and managed to shoot my TV out while we were watching TV. Fortunately, it was a black and white, so the implosion wasn't quite as large as with a color, but it was still pretty impressive. Scared the shit out of my dog, who stood in a corner of a closet trying to get away from the loud noise and flying glass. He also had people come and stay with me. I had some friends bring a kid over that was wanting to run away from home. He was probably 16 or 17. And so they let him stay there the night, or asked me if he could, and I said sure, and he spent the night. I had a very long talk with him, and changed his mind about running away from home. He went back to his parents the next day. I also got a kilo of Acapulco Gold while I was there. And yes, it was Acapulco Gold. It wasn't just some bright colored pot. It didn't have any stems, didn't have any seeds. It was compressed pollen, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. It was the best weed that I've ever smoked. I rolled a pin joint of it just off of the dust, because that's all it was dust. And I rolled a pin joint and lit it, took a deep hit, let it out, took a second deep hit, and woke up the next morning with my face in the grass. I didn't go to school for a week. I thought it was Christmas vacation, and I was just a week early. But in California at that time, if you missed 5 days without a doctor's excuse, they dropped you from the course. Well, I already had straight A's in the course. I did all the work, did all the homework, did all the extra credit. I did it all in the first 2 weeks. But the teacher said, well, unfortunately, you have to now come in for the next 10 weeks to physically be here. So when I got dropped, I was dropped with above passing grades, but I was dropped. And I figured, well, to hell with it. I didn't need to go to college anymore. It was enough of a try. It was my second try or third try. And I figured, well, to hell with it. Obviously, I was more into drugs, and so pot it was, and that was what I did. Yes, other drugs came along, sure. That powder probably was PCP. I had a little coke at that time. Hash, I was always up for hash. If I could find hash, I loved that. And I had a fairly decent source of hash. So that was nice. I had my friends. I had friends like Andy and Gary and Jack and people like that of that particular group would come over, and can't remember if Andy, he was living with his girlfriend. I think that was probably his first girlfriend. Maybe that's his wife now. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in years. Love to, but I haven't. Jack, I've talked with Jack's wife. I haven't talked with Jack. And it's been a long time. We're looking at 32 and 17, so we're looking at 49 years. Maybe the last time I saw Jack was 71. And that would be about the same for Andy, 71. So 29 years and 17, you're looking at 36 years. since we've seen each other. Um, be surprised what can happen to you in 36 years. None of us were 36 years old yet. So, that enters into it. I wasn't much older than Jack or Andy. I was a couple years older, but that was about it. Um, we had a unique friendship and a good friendship. I had we shared friends at times. We shared, and back in those days, people didn't nose around to see where you bought your stuff so they could see if they could buy it from the people you bought it from and save some money. People knew better. If I had something, they bought it from me. That was fine. They didn't care where it came from. That wasn't part of it. Eventually, that became the opposite. Everybody did care where it came from, and they would try to cut you out and save the money. Uh, that's kind of what changed a lot of the whole hippie movement. Um, People that were making money didn't mind paying for their drugs, as long as it was quality LSD or marijuana or whatever. Um, I had numerous good times with Andy, numerous good times with Jack too. Um, I think Jack was a little younger than Andy, a couple of years younger. I think. I can't remember for sure. But we were all good friends. We all tried to spend time with each other. We all tried to be something to help the other person. I mean, those were the times when you had friends, you treated your friends with respect. Um, those were fun times, like I said. No getting around that. Those were fun times. When I think of Andy, I think of Creedence Clearwater Revival. I think of Born on the Bayou. Um, I think of different music for different friends. Isn't that funny that you do that? But music is part of your soul. So that is what happens with that stuff. I'm going to come up with a few more memories from that house, that time. I had WC as my dog back then. And WC was a good dog. He was a good dog. He was an interesting dog. Certainly had his own mind. But I had friends like Gary and Andy and Jack um, that had their group of friends. And then I had other friends that had their group of friends. And I had, because, a lot of people that sell drugs had sitting home and you come to them. Pineapple Express, that would be a good view of how some people sold drugs. I didn't do that. I drove to my friends. I saw them at their house. It was easier for me, safer for me. But Andy and them still lived at home with their parents. So they came to me. And that was fine because we were friends. We went to an Iron Butterfly concert with Blue Cheer. And if I remember right, the opening act was Sean Na, I believe, or Atomic Rooster, one of the two. Iron Butterfly was, of course, unbelievable. Blue Cheer blew the transformer off the outside of the building, the Shrine Auditorium in L.A., and blacked out a 3-block area. That they carried their own power supplies because they did that frequently. Because each musician had 4 separate amplifiers and speakers. And so, 4-member band, or 5, I think Blue Cheer was 5. 5-member band, that would be 20 amps and 20 speakers. They were very loud. They were the loudest rock and roll band ever. Also, they were supported by Stanley Owsley, who made and sold Owsley's acid. So they were all part of the same trip, same thing. Anyway, I just wanted you all to know that some of these stories are coming up. I would love to interact with friends at the time and have some things reminded to me. I am in my 70s and I'm starting to forget shit. So Anyway, until next time, subscribe. Please, I'm asking all my friends to subscribe. And if you've watched more than one of my videos, you're a friend. So do subscribe, please. And comment. Say hi. Say hello, whatever. Don't be afraid.